Hello everyone, this is Payal Baja. Welcome to Pharma Desert. In this video, we will discuss about pre-formulation study part 1. So let's get started. First of all, definition. What is pre-formulation study? It is defined as a phase of research and development in which pre-formulation scientists characterize physical and chemical properties of new drug molecule in order to develop safe, effective, and stable dosage form. So what is pre-formulation study? That is a one type of phase of research and development in which any pre-formulation scientist they characterize physical as well as chemical properties of any new drug molecule which develop a safe, effective and stable dosage form. General pathway for new drug substance to its product. So drug that is synthesized. What is general pathway for new drug substance to its product? First one, drug synthesis. Drug synthesis. After drug synthesis, it is tested for pharmacological activity, and after pharmacological testing, that is divided into three parts: toxicity study, analytical work, and pre-formulation study. And after completion of these three studies, actual formulation that is done by passing through these three studies, and after actual formation that is done, phase 2 and 3 clinical trials that is performed, and NDA they submitted a report to the concerned authority, and production that is started, and after production started, marketing that is occur. So in phase 2 and 3 clinical trial, when it is performed, so after perform these clinical trials, final formula that is finalized, and NDA submitted a report to concerned authority. After submission of report to concerned authority, production that is started, and that is approved by FDA. So and after production that is started, that is approved with the help of FDA, and marketing that is started. Second one, methods for determination of physicochemical properties. First one, according to US FDA, it can be characterized as various methods that is available for determination of physicochemical properties of drug substance. So according to US FDA, it can be characterized as melting point, that is a hot stage microscopy. Second one, that is the IR spectroscopy, infrared spectroscopy, XRD, that is a X-ray diffraction study, thermal analytical techniques, solid state Raman spectroscopy, phase solution analysis, and comparative intrinsic dissolution rate. Second one, preliminary evaluations. In preliminary evaluation, compound identity, after compound identity, structure identification, as well as formula and molecular weight detection, therapeutic indications like a probable human dose, desired dosage form, bioavailability models in competitive products. Remaining one like potential hazards, initial bulk loads. In initial bulk loads, load number, crystallization solvent, particle size range, melting point, and percentage volatiles all are useful. Next one, in analytical methods, HPLC assay, TLC assay, UV otherwise visible spectroscopy assay that is required. Factor affecting pre-formulation study. So various factors which affect a pre-formulation study. First one, a physical characteristic. In physical characteristic, organoleptic properties, particle size and particle size distribution, crystallinity and polymorphism, hygroscopicity study, melting point detection, solubility study, ionization constant, partition coefficient, and dissolution study. So all are the physical characteristics which affect the pre-formulation study. We will discuss one by one. First one, what about organoleptic properties? In organoleptic properties, color, that is level of unsaturation and conjugated unsaturation, as well as the presence of chromophore. So second one, odor, that is major functional group. They present odor that greatly affect the foodstuff, while taste, if taste that is unpleasant, use of a less soluble in chemical form of drug substance, and taste may be used Test may be used in use of a less soluble in chemical form of drug. So test may be used in coating of final product. That is about organoleptic properties. Second one, particle size and particle size distribution. First definition, particle size that is defined as a diameter of the sphere that is equivalent to the particle in the weight, volume, surface area or sedimentation velocity, and type of powder according to particle size, that is a monodisperse powder and polydisperse powder. So monodisperse powder, that is all particles that are of same size, while polydisperse powder that have all particles that have a different size. So what is particle size and particle size distribution? So particle size that is defined as diameter of sphere that are equivalent to particle in weight, volume, surface area or sedimentation velocity, while types of powder according to particle size. First one, monodisperse powder. In monodisperse powder, all particles that have a same size, while in polydisperse powder, all particles that have a different size. Particle size that can affect a variety of important factors like surface area, density, porosity, and compressibility, as well as flow property, suspendability, and dissolution rate. Methods for analyzing a particle size. Various methods that is available for particle size determination or analysis. Microscopy study, sieving method, sedimentation method, Coulter-Counter method, and light scattering method. First one, for microscopy study, in microscopy study for in a light microscopy study, by using light microscope, particle size determination between 1 to 1000 micron particle size, it should be determined. Second one, by using TAME study, transmission electron microscopy study, 0.001 to zero point 0.1 micron particle size, that is determine or identify. By using SAM study, that is scanning electron microscopy study, 0.01 to 1000 micron particle size, that is determined. Second one, in sieving method, minimum size sieve diameter, that is around 45 micron, while maximum sieve diameter, that is around 1000 micron. In sedimentation method, 1 to 200 micrometer particle size, that is identified. In Coulter-Counter method, 0.01 to 100 micrometer particle size, that is determined. And last one, by using light scattering method, 0.01 to 50 micrometer particle size, that is determined. Next one, light scattering method. In light scattering method, helium or neon laser that is passed into a particle and that is passed into a cell, and in cell particles that is present. So helium and neon that is passed into one type of sample. In a sample, various size of particles that is available, and after passing through a cell, this laser that is passed with the help of lens and that is detected, and after that that is passed into a multiplex over a AD converter, and after AD converter that is reach at a microprocessor, and finally data output is occur. Next one, crystallinity. In crystallinity, crystal it is a highly organized form in which distance and angle between molecule or atom in three-dimensional array. What is crystal habit? That is the external appearance of lattice. So crystal it is a one type of highly organized form, and in which distance as well as angle between molecule or atom in three-dimensional array that is available. What is crystal habit? That is the external appearance of lattice arrangement. Well, amorphous form that is different from crystalline form, right? So amorphous form that are one type of non-crystalline material, and they do not have a definite arrangement of molecule as that of crystals. Different crystal habits that is available. So crystal habits, various shape of crystal that is available in this figure. Next one, structure of chemical compound. Structure of chemical compound that is divided into two types, habit and internal structure. So internal structure that is further divided into two types, crystalline and non-crystalline material. So crystalline material that have two types, polymorph and molecular adduct. While polymorph that is divided into two types, enantiotropic and monotropic. While molecular adduct that have two types, that is non-stoichiometric complex and second one that is stoichiometric complex. While non-stoichiometric complex, that is divided into three types: channel, layer, and cage. While stoichiometric complex, that is divided into two types: hydrates and organic solvent. Next one, polymorph. Polymorphism, that means any drug or substance that are available in one crystalline form with different lattice arrangement, that are known as polymorphism. So any drug substance or molecule that is available in one crystalline form with different lattice arrangement, that is known as polymorphism, and that have a different melting point. So type of polymorph, that is divided into two types: enantiotropic and monotropic. Enantiotropic, that is a sulfur, that is the example of enantiotropic, while monotropic example, that is a glyceryl stearate, that is the example of monotropic. Pseudopolymorphism, solvent or water that is incorporated in the crystal lattice or changing the crystal habit, it is known as pseudopolymorphism. So aqueous solubility of hydrate, that is more compared to aqueous solubility of anhydrous form. Aqueous solubility of anhydrous form, that is higher compared to aqueous solubility of hydrates. Various methods, they characterize polymorph like microscopy study, hot stage microscopy, powdered X-ray diffraction, and thermal analysis. All are the methods they characterize polymorph. Second one, hygroscopicity. First one, what is hygroscopicity? It is the tendency of material which absorb a moisture from atmosphere and be dynamic equilibrium with water in the atmosphere. Example of hygroscopicity study, that is a ephedrine, while a second one, that is deliquescent. In deliquescent, it is the hygroscopic substance which absorb a moisture from air and they can be liquefied by partially or wholly forming solution. Second one, what is deliquescent substance? That is also one type of hygroscopic substance, and they absorb the moisture from air as well as they can be liquefied by or liquefied with the help of liquefied by partially or wholly forming solution. Next one, what is efflorescent? Efflorescent, that is a one type of substance, and they lost the water to form a lower hydrous or become an anhydrous. It is termed as efflorescent substance. Example of efflorescent material, that is atropine. Importance of this study. It affects the flow property of material as well as they affect the compression characteristic, granulation study, and hardness of final tablet. While next one, they also affect the compaction study, important in aerosol, and they affect the chemical stability of hydrolyzable drug. Next one, method of improvement. Various methods for improvement. First one, they perform the entire tableting operation under the controlled humidity condition, as well as that add a finely powdered adsorbent like magnesium oxide or magnesium carbonate. And for granulation of hygroscopic material, use a non-aqueous solvent. So methods for improvement. First one, they perform an entire tableting operation under a controlled humidity condition. While a second one, they add a finely powder adsorbent, like they add a magnesium oxide, otherwise magnesium carbonate. And for granulation purpose, hygroscopic material, they use a non-aqueous solvent, and that is stored in a desiccator, foil, blister, otherwise glass bottle. Next one, melting point detection. In melting point, characteristic of pure substance, that is easily identified with the help of melting point detection, used to determine the purity of substance. So various methods that are used to determine a melting point: capillary method, hot stage microscopy study, as well as differential scaling calorimetry or thermal analysis. Next one, solubility study. In important for a drug substance, that is a solubility, especially in aqueous system. So a drug, they possess a aqueous solubility for a therapeutic efficacy. So various importance that is available for a solubility study. First one, they determine a binder for granulation study as well as for a prediction of dosage form. They depending on the solubility as well as which determine dissolution medium for carrying in vitro dissolution studies. Solubility description as per USP. So, description, that is if a drug substance that is less than a part of solvent, less than one part of solvent required for one part of solute, that is very soluble. If from 1 to 1 part of solvent required for one part of solute, that are known as freely soluble substance. If drug substance that is 10 to 13 parts of solvent required for one part of solute, that is a soluble substance. From 30 to 100 parts of solvent required for 1 part of solute, that is sparingly soluble substance. And from 100 to 1000, that is a slightly soluble. From 1000 to 10,000 parts of solvent required for 1 part of solute, that is a very slightly soluble substance. And last one, 10,000 and over parts of solvent required for 1 part of solute, that is insoluble substance. Solubility determination. Solubility, how that is determined? So drug in excess that is placed in a solvent and that is shaken at a constant temperature till equilibrium is achieved. And after equilibrium that is achieved, solution that is filtered and solution is analyzed for a drug content. Methods which improve the solubility study. First one that is micronization study. Example that is Griseoflumi. Co-solvency method. In co-solvency method, solubilization by surfactant. Example that is glyclazide. Complexation study with the help of beta cyclodextrin and change in pH with the help of nimesulide. Next one, ionization constant. 75% of all the drugs that are weak bases and 20% that are weak acids, while 5% that are non-ionic atmospheric amphoteric drug substance. So the ionization of weak acid that is depend on a various pH, right? So it is useful to know the molecule it is ionized at a certain pH, since the properties such as solubility, stability, any pharmacokinetic parameters all are affected by pK, that is ionization constant. And Henderson-Hasselbalch equation that is useful for acid and base. pH is equal to pK plus log ionized form divided by unionized form, that is useful for acid, while pH is equal to pKa plus log unionized form divided by ionized form, that is useful for bases. What is the importance of ionization constant? Which predict the solubility at particular pH, as well as they facilitate the selection of salt forming compound. And methods, they determine pK study. So various methods that is available for a determination of ionization constant. First one that is potentiometric method. Second one that is conductivity method. And third one that is spectrophotometry method. If any query or doubts related to topic, please write your question in comment box. Thank you.